In the house today with Mike Murray, former pro boxer. How you doing, man?
Yeah, good, mate. You?
I'm good.
All right.
Yeah. I really appreciate you doing this for us today.
Pleasure.
You know how we do it to get the message out there.
Yeah.
Mate, there's a lot of people that has been looking forward to this interview that I'm doing with you today, especially with what you've got going on for the future.
Yeah.
It's all mental. I met you in Wales when we was down there at another charity do.
Yeah.
Mate, you opened your heart to me straight away.
You just got on,
absolute gentleman, mate. I really appreciate it. And, you know, we've got some things moving for the future.
Yeah.
But take us back to the beginning, man. Where did it all come? Where did it all start?
Right, so obviously I've just recently retired professional boxing. I was 38, which is all for a pro, like, you know what I mean? I'm 39 now. But it was, like I said, it was old. Now, I'd always boxed all my life. So, born and bred in St Helens. Always had a pair of boxing gloves in the house, but none of my family boxed. My mum's dad, my father, he was the secretary of boxing club. And the Johnny Chiz he sadly passed away in 2005, Johnny. But Johnny Chiz was a character. He was an old school fella from St Helens. He was just hell bent on making people change their lives through boxing. So obviously he used to, you won't get away with doing what he did. Like back in the day, he used to just turn up in his van. I know if I opened back and just throw out kids off these stairs in the van. But because he was a trusted, member of the community, they all know him. And it was like, where's kids gone on? They've gone training with John. So that was it. So that was kind of my first introduction to boxing. But going back a bit earlier, like I said, I was born and bred in St Helens. Mum and dad are still together. There's four of us. I'm the oldest of the three lads, and obviously our Katie, the one sister. Now, obviously, times were hard for us growing up. Lived in a council house. My dad didn't have the best upbringing. He had a terrible upbringing, actually. So, he kind of had to do what he had to do to make money.
Yeah.
My mum had four of us under 10 looking after us. Like I said, my dad was kind of out doing what he had to do to make money, or, there was times where he was in jail. But we had a good childhood, had a cracking childhood, very loving. Mum and dad are great people, and it's kind of they're all about family, and that's passed on to us now, because me, my two brothers and my sister, we're all the same about our kids.
That's a good trait to have, man, because people are having kids these days and not putting the groundworks in for them to be able to build their mansions within themselves, and
that's exactly right. So anyway, they obviously did that with us. So like I said, 7 was round about the time Johnny Chiz come and got me in his van. And I knew straight away when I went in the gym, it was for me. It was my type of place. I was always that cheeky kid growing up. I was always doing little bits of nicking and thieving myself, and just a bit of a jackal lad as a kid. And then kind of just carried on boxing, got to 11, and had my first fight. So that was my very first fight. You
remember that?
I do remember it, yeah.
Did you know was it a local lad, or was it someone from another town?
He was from Winchford. His name was Michael Blackmore, and he ended up fighting him 4 times. But yeah, I'll never forget, it was the 5th of November over in Northwich in 1993. So my very first fight. Obviously I'd sparred at gym, knew boxing was for me, loved it. But yeah, my first fight, I think I was 4 stone 9, I think it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was tiny, mate. I was tiny all through my childhood. So like it's it, obviously I carried on boxing. At 16, I won the schoolboys, so I was in my last year of school. I won them at 45 kilo, which was 7 stone at 16. I was tiny. I'd dieted all my life, and my wife says to me, Gemma, I had a dead, unhealthy relationship with food. I've got a good relationship with it now, but I dieted all my childhood, just making weight. For obviously in competitions, training.
Yeah.
So, like I said, 16, I won the schoolboys, national schoolboys. I was all right at boxing, Do you know what I mean? I was all right. I wasn't the best, but it was all right. Now, growing up on the council estates, obviously, your mentality is, and it was back then, is obviously we hate the police. You know, getting a criminal record's good. Mm-hmm. Your peers are getting criminal records. I had a couple of cautions as a kid, and obviously I thought it was good. Like I said, the peers were doing it. The older ones off the estates. Something that show off within your friends in it. Like, obviously got a criminal record. Police nicked me, or they took me for a caution, or whatever it was. And then, like, all I wanted to do throughout school was go in the army. That's all I wanted to do. Throughout school, even though I was boxing, I wanted to go in the army.
Why did you want to go into the army so much? Just to get away from.
I just thought it was me. Obviously, no, not so much getting away. I just fancied that life. I just thought it was me.
Was it the discipline that you accept so well, or is it just the fact that you're travelling all over with camaraderie of
just
guys?
That. Yeah, it was just kind of like just getting involved, getting stuck in. The discipline. I'd always been good up until a certain point with discipline. But that's all I wanted to do. So obviously I went into school. When I went through school, I learned the qualifications I needed for going to the army. Didn't achieve, I'd underachieved massively in school, because I was quite switched on, I was quite bright, but only wanted to get the grades that I needed to go into the army. So then when I was 17, well, it was just before I was 17, I'd gone, started doing the test, so they took me down Sutton Coldfield. Now, about a week before I went for this medical and physical test, I was all due for going in. I was going Warrington, that's where we had to go do our test for getting the army. So, I went there, passed the test that you had to do. They sent me for a medical and physical test. So I went down onto, I think we all jumped on a coach, and then we went down Sutton Coldfield, and then got there, and the week before I went, I had to fill this form out about obviously medical conditions. Now, at the time, I had dry skin on my legs. I had just dry skin.
Yeah.
I thought it was eczema. So I put down on my form that I had eczema on. It's mad how that just changed my life. Just writing that one word.
Really?
Changed my life. It's weird now looking back. So I wrote eczema on it. Anyway, we went in, did the medical. Now, 2 weeks before this test, I boxed in ABCs. And there was a sergeant out of the army, was a referee. He refereed my fight. He was there when I went down there. He recognised me. They knocked me back on my medical. Yeah, so they refused me because he had eczema on my legs. They would say, he got me in the major's office, saying, listen, come back into the army. Get a letter off your doctor just saying that you're all right. We'll get you in here. You go travelling the world. You go around world boxing for army. You'll have an amazing life. Looks after the rest of your life. And then I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then I remember being at Lime Street Station. Obviously, it's like my dreams had been shattered.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I'd not got an army. So obviously, I was 17. In hindsight, and obviously these kids who I'm working with now, I asked them the same question in my presentation last week. And every single one of them, I said, what would you do? They went, I'd just go and get a doctor's note and go back. I didn't. My head fell off. All my mates were going out partying. I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to do that.
The direction that you were travelling set you up for having a life in the army before you even got there.
Yeah.
So the fact that you didn't get in kind of puts you at like a stopping point where you're just like, where do I go now?
Well, that was it. So I'd focused that hard, and I was on a positive mindset, and I was going that way. And then I thought, yeah, I'm going in the army. And then when they just said I couldn't get in, and even something so small, just a doctor's note, when they just said that, I just thought, you know what, sack it. So then I remember coming back, catching up with a couple of lads, and they went Wigan Pier, which used to be an old nightclub in Wigan. They went Wigan Pier, and God knows how I got in, because when I was 17, I must have looked about 12 again. I'm not joking. And I went with him, chanced it. I thought, I'm just going to go. Chanced it. Anyway, I got in, and then I went in, and there was all taking tablets for mates, extra, and he gave me half a tablet. I said, give me one of them, and he gave me half. I'll never forget his words. He said to me, he went, I will, but listen to me. He went, this better not fuck your life up, muzzer. That's what he said to me.
Yeah.
Wow. And it did. It did. Obviously, it took half of ecstasy, addicted to that type of lifestyle, that feeling. And once you have that one eye, you're always chasing it again, aren't you?
Yeah, I heard that from my brother
Yeah,
enough times.
you're always chasing it. So you're always going out chasing them nights, that feeling. And you never get them.
No.
But it's then obviously what comes with it. So my life just took a drastic turn down a negative pathway. So I moved out. I got a flat. Moved out to my mum and dad's. I got a flat at 18, and we was literally just partying every day, taking drugs, going out. I was addicted to that lifestyle, and obviously with that comes criminality. So I got my first criminal record at 17. No, I was 18 actually. I got my first criminal record. I thought it was good. I thought it was big. I thought it was hard. I thought it was clever. You know, it was like a bit of a badge of honour. And then everything just spiralled out of control. So I ended up getting nicked more. I ended up going jail. I got biggest embarrassment in my life. I got 3 years for street robbery.
Was that your first time that you got?
That was the first time. No, sorry, no, it wasn't the first time I was in jail. The first time I went in jail I was in Cyprus. So I went on holiday with lads. Well, there was 4 of us actually. There was me, Steve Birch, Craig Lyon, and another one. I won't mention his name. We were pally at the time, but we're not now, and we never will be. But there was 4 of us, and what it was Steve Birch and Craig Lyon boxed for England all over the world, stuck into training. That's who I'd boxed with all my life. And it was mad because me and Steve had this flat. Birch had a flat directly above me, which he was just going around world fighting for England. And I had a flat below me, and all I was doing was just taking drugs and partying. And they were going away for a break because they'd been boxing all year. And they went away with Steve's mum, June, and Anthony, a fella. And I just remember going up to his flat one night, and then they'd mentioned going on holiday to me over the past couple of weeks and months. But because I was just in a drunken and drug fueled state all the time, I didn't really grasp it. So then when I went up there this one time, and I said, "Where are you going?" They went, "No, we're going on holiday tomorrow." And I was up off my head at this point. Like, I think I was on speed. I was off my head, and then they had a flight. I went, "I'm coming." Yeah,
just like
that. I'm coming. I remember being up all night on my own in my flat, booking an holiday on teletext. Remember when you could book it on teletext? Yeah. Booking an holiday on teletext, a separate flight. Anyway, obviously, they went over. I got a flight over on my own the day after. And then, because I'd been obviously not had my head about me when I booked the holiday, I booked a flight only. So when I got there on my own, I had no hotel to go, so we got rough at the first night. Bumped into him the day after, and we was obviously, we was young kids, we was wild. I was a bit wilder than others, just how I was at that point. And I got caught with drugs on me over there. Bought some drugs over there and got caught with them. The flat got raided, our apartment. So yeah, he ended up doing 6 weeks over there in Nicosia.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I was only 18, big like proper jail, like, 12 in a cell, one toilet at end, one all floor, one toilet at end at landing. It was proper jail like. But you'd think coming back from that, you'd think, wow, that should walk anyone up, shouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
But to me, I come back, obviously thought I had a bit of reputation, I was young, I'd been to jail abroad. Again, I wore it with a badge of honour. So carried on just doing what I was doing. Ended up getting 3 years for that street robbery. Again, what happened with that was I'd been out again all night and I drank a bottle of GHB. Then honestly, I woke up the day after and I got told what I did and I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it, but I kept having flashbacks and I denied it. And I was going ID parades and I kept denying it. And then it comes to sentencing and I just threw a guilty in. Got 3 years. I got grassed up for it. Somebody grassed me up and I knew who did it. But I was that embarrassed about what I did. I thought I deserved to be punished for this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So obviously got 3 years.
Have you seen the guy since?
Yeah, I've seen him, yeah. He doesn't know it's him who did it, but it makes no odds to me. You know what I mean? It's not.
What about the other guy, the one that you'd robbed?
No, there was 3 of them. No, never done it. They was younger than me as well. I didn't know I just didn't know what I was doing. Obviously, I don't know what I'd do if I see him. It's just, again, it's an embarrassment with that I'll never leave.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I did, I'm not that type of person. I ended up going to jail again, which we'll get onto shortly, but I've never been a nasty person.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that I did something like this, I was upset with myself. I'm still up with myself now, but obviously you can't let your past determine your future,
This is true, yeah.
So anyway, I went to jail for that. I got 3 years for that, and then when I got out. Now, like we said earlier, so I'd been 16. I'd won the schoolboys at 7 stone. So I think I went in jail at 8 stone. I come out like 11, so I went in a boy and come out a man.
Wow. So
there was times when, at the time before that, where I was getting into drugs and taking ecstasy tablets and partying. Again, there was a lot of personal embarrassment with me, because everyone expected me to be this top boxer.
Yeah.
People were seeing me getting me drug. I felt ashamed. I used to hide the fact that I was off my head when I seen him. Tried to hide it. Again, a lot of personal embarrassment for me. So then when I'd gone into jail and I'd come out at I went in 8 stone and come out at 11. I'd gone in a boy, I'd come out a man. It was just again, it was a badge of honour. And I had a bit of an attitude, kind of personal regret for doing what I did.
Mm-hmm.
Regret for not standing up for myself in a way.
The prison changer.
The prison changed me. It kind of, and, there's a big thing with jails. Now, I think what I'm trying to do now, again, having a criminal record affecting me later on in my life with my career. I couldn't get into America for big fights because of what I did. But again, it's this whole criminal record and going into jail that I'm trying to deter. It's like early intervention, which I'm trying to deter, because every time I went into prison, I just come out a bigger and better criminal.
Yeah. It's almost like going to the fraternity and learning
exactly
how to be more sharpened.
Yeah. And that's all it was. So, come out again, badge of honour, been away, put 3 stone in weight on when I come out. Thought I was an hard man. Had a bit of an attitude, and it was just where I used to hide the fact that I'd taken drugs and go out partying and whatever. It was now I was yeah, fucking do it. If you've got a problem, we'll sort it out, So then it changed. Again, we come that with a lifestyle of going out, partying and enjoying myself. To become it changed then. There was a lot of fighting, a lot of violence, so we did, we're just involved in just scrapping all the time. I just had a bit of a chip on my shoulder looking back. The fact that I used to go into, was banned from everywhere. On pub watching St Helens, couldn't go anywhere, and I used to think that was good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. My mentality then was that it was good. It's sad.
Yeah, I've been there myself. I know that ego does take over, and you don't realise it is, but and the fact is that when I was doing it, I never had anyone step in and go, "What happened to you, man? You used to be such a good kid."
Yeah.
I never had anyone step in and say that.
Yeah.
It was more like, if there's any trouble, call Paul. Yeah. Call this, call that. Did you ever have anyone step in and say to you, "Come on, man"?
Well, obviously, there was my mum and dad, obviously. And I think the thing is, when you're that age, you don't listen to the people who really care, do you? You listen to all your so-called mates, and you think, you've got to stay loyal to them. But the true people who wanted to help you was my mum and dad, was Johnny Chiz. But you just don't listen, So in 2003, I'd cut my tag off. So I got out of jail on tag. Going out partying. Again, thought I was big, hard and clever. Cut my tag off. So obviously straight away I was going back to jail, so I was on run. Now, end of 2003, I've been out with lads, and we've been Liverpool, and then we come back. We went to our local pub, and across the road's a pizza shop, and we just walked in after. It was all a bit. I mean, the fellow who owned it was a bit of a dickhead. Like he was scrapping all the time with customers. It just didn't mix well with us going in piss, so we went in and you know, it's funny looking back, just why, it's not funny, I mean, how the fight escalated, it was over frozen chips, so...
It's funny when you say that, but like...
That's what I mean, I'm thinking now, like, some of my mate went in, he's a vegetarian, and they give him uncut frozen chips, so he used to order chips or cheese and tomato pizza, that's all he used to order. And they give him uncut chips, and he was obviously all pissed up, and he ate one, it was frozen. He threw a bottle, he had a bottle of WKD, which obviously landed in fryer, all chippy went up, he come out, all drivers, ended up a big dust up. Tried to sort it out, but obviously it didn't work. We ended up in a big free-for-all, so we all got nicked. Now, again, this is what I'm saying about people trying to get a criminal record, so... Later on, when we all got sentenced, there was only me who went jail because I was the only one who'd been jailed previously. You know, once you get that criminal record and you go to jail, you're forever trying to chase your tail. So we got nicked on that. We got nicked on that day. But I went there and I gave up my brother's details in. I didn't have any tattoos then, so I went in and gave our kid's name in, and they released me. I couldn't believe it. So then anyway, I mean, and this is, you know, everything happens for a reason. So I'm a firm believer of that. So when they released me, and then the ABAs were going into 2004, you know, and the ABAs were coming up, senior ABAs. And I was trying to get back in the boxing gym, but Johnny Chase, my trainer, wouldn't let me in the boxing gym. You're giving and he's right what he was saying. You're going round town, you're scrapping all the time, you're giving the club a bad reputation. I don't want you in Jimmy Band, and I completely agree with it. But I was trying to get back in the gym. The ABAs, Waynes were coming up. He wouldn't let me. And then I remember I was out. I kept asking Steve Birch if he'd speak with John. John will let me Jim. Phone him in, he won't have you in. And then one day I got a phone. It was the week before the ABAs, and Steve Birch phoned me, and he just said, Mars, I've just been with Chizzy. He wants to know if you want to go in ABAs next week. And I'd been out on a bender. I remember it, I was just smoking a joint at the time. And then he just went, you want to go in ABAs next week? And then straight away, just threw the joint away. And then that was it then. So I trained a week, weighed in the week after. I was on the run at this point as well. So trained, weighed in, fought the week after one, fought the week after one, fought the week after one. All this time I'm dodging police on the run.
Yeah.
And I ended up winning ABAs. So I won senior ABAs.
Wow.
So I was obviously number one in England. But again, I knew my time was going to be up at some point. So during this, obviously I was wanted for the cutting my tag off. And this case in this chippy shop kept getting through in and out of court, and then there was a point where it was like, right, it's going through court. So then I've been on the run at this point all over a year, and going into 2005, Johnny asked me, get back at gym for ABAs, and I went, John, listen mate, my time's up. He went, what do you mean? I went, I'm going back jail. And then a couple of weeks later I got nicked for my tag, got took to Walton prison. On remand, obviously doing my tag, and then I got brought up for the case for the fighting the chipper. So yeah, I ended up getting 15 months for that. I had to wait because obviously with my tag and all that, and then the time I had left on my tag and the 15 months that I got for that, I ended up doing 8 months. I went in the February, got out in the October, and then I'd been out a couple of weeks, and again I'd put weight on at that point. So I'd gone even bigger, put more weights, and just got stuck into new weights. And then I come out, and I've been out 2 weeks in Warrington. I went out with one of my mates, and I bumped into Gemma. Obviously, you've met Gem.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, she is, and kind of like I know my life changed forever at that point because I knew I'd met me, my future life partner, my future wife, and Jem was from a different background from me, so she's not used to all this, all the fighting, all the kind of drug taking, being from a council estate, and all the think it's big and hard and clever for have a kind of record and a reputation. So she was different. So she couldn't really grasp why I was doing what I was doing. Now, the week after I'd been out 2 weeks at this point, 2 or 3 weeks, I'd met Jem. The week after I went to a nightclub in Preston, and I had a fight with a doorman over my coat. He won't give me a coat back. So we end up, me and again this same lad who said I won't mention, who we'll never talk to again. I was out with him, and we ended up having a fight with these doormen. Police come, CS gas does Nick just to it back. I thought, right, that's it, I'm done. But they bailed me. I thought, I've just got out, I'm on licence for a fray. I've just been nipped for a fray. I thought, I'm done here. I'm remanded. They bailed me again. So obviously I was kept going to Preston court. And then I kept thinking at the time, how am I not getting remanded here, mate? It's weird how I'm not getting remanded.
Yeah.
And then this one time I was there, and the bench said, they just basically teed up me getting remanded, I thought. And they went, the bench are going to retire, and I just thought, I need to get out of here. So obviously just scarpered out of, I just said, asked the usher could have used the toilets, used it, and just ran out of court. And then I was on run then.
You done a runner from court?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so the police were on me again for that. Because I knew I was going back to jail, and I wasn't ready going back to jail. I just met Jem. I'd been out a couple of months. And I thought, I'm not ready. I've been out, at that point? I've been out about, 4 months, I'd say. And I thought, I'm not ready to go back to jail. And I thought they're going to slam me as well. So I just thought, no, I'm not doing it. So then, obviously, me and Jem were getting close. But I knew if I'd have got sent down at that point, our relationship would have been gone, because I reckon they'd have threw maximum at me.
What was the maximum?
I'm not sure. It wasn't, obviously, it was in magistrate, so...
but it was a repeat as well, wasn't it?
I reckon I got it a couple of years, which I'd have done 12 months. And I think our relationship, again, being different, the fact she's not used to lads like this, and I thought, I wasn't ready. So then I got on a plane with a mate of mine and went working in Malio, Crete.
Yeah.
So just went over there PRing. So I was there for 12 weeks. Again, I knew, you think you're over there having a good time, and it was good, but I knew, when I go back, my life changed. I'm going back to jail. So obviously I had a good time over there, got back, got nicked, I'd been back about a week, and I remember I was walking through St Helens Town, and I seen some man looking at me. And again, at that age, you've got a bit of an attitude chip on your shoulder. I thought, you want to fight him? So your nerves start going. I'm thinking, who the fuck's he looking at him? And then I went into a changing room, trying some clothes on. Knock on door. Turns out he was a copper. Phone police on me. Obviously, I phoned him, just said, I've seen him. He's here now. He's in this shop. So police come nick me, handcuffed me, walked me through town. Obviously, that was embarrassing. Threw me back of a bus and took me to Preston. So then, obviously, that was that then. So, I'd been in Preston jail, and it was obviously looking at this charge. Now, luckily for me, again, everything happened for a reason. Luckily for me, at that time while I was abroad and working away, me co-accused, me co-D, was my old mate. He got dealt with while I was away. Now, on this video, it only showed him defending himself. Yeah. So they give him 2 months jail. So then, by the time I'd been away, got nicked, come back, I was back in court now. They was just like, right, well, they couldn't find the CCTV. So they just went, we can only give you what we've given, give me 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Made that something was shining down on you at that time.
That changed my life, definitely. So I did 30 days, and you know what? longest sentence of my life.
Because you had something to come out to.
Because I knew there and then that was it. My life's going to change. So obviously I come out, did 30 days, come out.
Would you say that's acceptance? Now you've accepted that it needs to change.
Does what needs to change?
The way that you was living.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. I can't even, I wrote my autobiography a couple of years ago, and again, even like this, talking with you about it, it's like I'm talking about somebody different. It's...
from the you that I met to what you're telling me, this is the first time I've heard about it, and I didn't expect to get that from you today, and but understanding how you are now and your drive to make younger kids realise just how lucky they are just to be alive is and pushing forward for a better future for them. Yeah. I now understand it fully why you are the way you are. I get it now.
So because again, we'll touch on it shortly, but I was lucky enough to turn it around. There's a lot of my mates who haven't. There's a lot of them who's obviously in jail, obviously drug addicts. A lot of them who's still doing the same old things. But don't get me wrong, there's some of them who's done really well. But there are others who just haven't had that chance for change. And it's just about me now grabbing these, it's like early intervention, grabbing all of these kids, 13, 14, 15, whatever it is. We started 11 to 16, when I'm up to 19, then up to 25. But it's just about them making them realise that they are lucky to be alive and life's there for you if you want to go and get it, So when I come back, like I said, I got that 30 days, got out. I was just like, I'd literally got out. And the day after I went straight to the boxing gym. Now, at this time, in 2005, when I was in Walton the year before, my trainer, Johnny Chizzard, died, like my lifelong mentor. He'd passed away, plus my mum's mum, she passed away as well. And it's not a nice place to be when people close to you like that pass. Mm-hmm. Again, that's guilt, kind of the fact that you couldn't go and see him off and, go to the funerals and go to the send-offs. It was hard for me to deal with. But when I got out, he passed away, John. When I got out that day, the day after I went to John Lyon. Now, John Lyon's the most decorated amateur in St Helens. He's a legend in these parts. He's a legend on amateur boxing circuits. He's the only person to win 9 ABA titles. He was was it 8? I'm not sure, but it's the record anyway. Now, John had a gym in Wigan, and I've known John for years. Me and his son Craig, go back a long way and good mates. And I went to John and just went, John, listen. I said, I'm just got out of jail. And he'd known and been in and out of jail for a couple of years. I went, John, listen, I just got out of jail, and he changed my life now, mate. If I don't, I'm going to end up dead or in jail again. I'm just going to end up being this way forever. So I went back to what I knew best, which was boxing. So I went there, and John just got me at the gym, training with me every day. I had 4 fights for Wigan. And then I turned professional in 2007. So I was late at this point. I had my very first fight. It was a couple of weeks just before my 25th birthday, which was late for turning pro. But I just caught it at the right time. So obviously I had my first fight September 2007, and got out of St Helens, moved away. I just needed to get at that time. I love St Helens. I'll forever love it. I'm here every day, trying to do good. But I just needed to get out at that point because I just needed to get away from all my old friends, the old things that I was doing, and just focus on a more positive life. So me and Jem got an house in Wigan, rented an house in Wigan, and just stayed there and knuckled down. Obviously, training every day. Went and met Oliver in 2006, and I knew straight away when I met Oliver Harrison that he was the coach for me. I went to see a few people, but me and Oliver just clicked. So I was going Salford every day. I didn't drive at this point, so I was getting lifts to an old mate of mine. He sadly passed Teddy, but he was all fella from our estate to grow up and just used to take me to gym, wait for me to train every day. And yeah, that was it. So obviously I started off my career, but when I got out into, again, this is how complicated it was for years. Into that time when I got out, when I was in jail in 2006 in Preston, I was due to go to court for an incident which happened 2 years before, which was nicking a car in Liverpool. So I'd just been out, I'd been Wigan PU. We got offered a lift to pleasure rooms, went back this house party. Was promised this lift home, didn't get it. So I took the keys. Obviously, in hindsight, you just think, well, just get a taxi. Now, obviously you're older, you're wiser. You think that's what any normal person would do. But I was stupid then. I took this car anyway. It was that. So then I went to Liverpool magistrates, and the judge said to me, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, listen, I'm boxing now. I'm trying to change my life. Let me just let me out of don't send me back. Just give me a chance." So obviously, he gave me a 3-month tag, community service, fine, ban, all that carry on. And then a few months later, obviously I turned pro at this point. The community service was affecting my training, so I breached my community service, and I went to St Helens magistrates. I got breached, back to court, and I literally just said to the judge, just give me a chance. I'm onto something good here. This was before my first fight as well. I just said, I'm onto something good here. I went, just give me a chance, please. I'm really hoping for change my life now, and you'll never see me in this court again. And he said, well, if I do, I'll conditional discharge you. But if I see you in this courtroom for anything under it within 2 years, you go in jail for a long time, or less plus whatever you're done for. And that was the last time I was ever in court.
Wow. Did you think that he was going to listen to you?
Yeah, I did. You know why? Because it felt true to me. All the times when you're in court and you're blagging up stories, and you've been nipped for this, and you it just didn't feel true. This did. It just felt true, and I just thought, I mean, he could have not done, but I thought that it felt right to me, and it felt true, and I just spoke. I just opened my heart and just said to him, give me a chance, please.
Amazing.
And he did, and obviously, like I said, that was the last time I was ever in court. So I had my first fight at 2007. Won the prize fighter competition on Sky 2008. Then, won Commonwealth title 2010, British title 2011. Fought for me first world title at 2011. And then, yeah, just obviously you're there then, you brought the cycle, everything's positive, innit? So 2011 I qualified by a youth worker. I did a mentoring course the year after, so it was always me passion and my intention to do what I'm doing now back then, but my career took off. So my first world title fight was in Germany. I then ended up in Argentina against Sergio Martinez. And then I ended up fighting in Johannesburg, South Africa. Signed a deal in Monte Carlo, so 3 times in Monte Carlo. Then I was over Germany. But again, the big fights come for me over in America. Never once fought in America. There was big fights there, and because I had my criminal record, obviously there's nothing they could do about it.
Yeah, they're pretty strict, America.
Yeah.
And I always turn around and say, you just don't realise what, and it's not explained to you either, that, collecting these brownie points, which you think are honour badges, how much it's going to actually affect you. Because would that affect you to go to Florida Disney and that lot as well?
Yeah, I couldn't go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but where I messed up, in 2000, when was it? 2007, on my second fight, I broke my hand. I broke my thumb in a fight, my second professional fight. I'm Ricky Hatton, fighting Mayweather. And obviously I was due for fighting, but couldn't fight because I broke my thumb. So I just go there. So I ended up going to Vegas watching Hatton and Mayweather. But I literally was on the plane. Honestly, what's the only lies, I didn't have a clue about all this visa or rest of stuff like I do now. And I got past this form, and it was said, have you got a criminal record? And I was unaware of all this. I just thought you could just go anywhere without obviously getting visas. And someone said to forget it, I wouldn't, if you got one, don't tick that, you won't get in, so tick no. So then obviously went there, got Vegas, got through. Everything was alright, and then when the fights come up then, a couple of years later, because obviously when I fought Stern I drew against in Germany, which many people thought I won. And then I fought Martinez in Argentina. Again, many people thought I won that. Now, he was at the time, he was the number 2 pound for pound middleweight on the planet. No fight, he was the number 1 middleweight on the planet. He was the pound for pound number 2 fighter in the world.
Wow.
Went over there. Again, everybody thought I won. He had him down twice, got beat on points. So then, because of that, and that was the first time that I got sent in America, fights started to come for America then. But then, obviously, when they realised I got a criminal record and the fact that I'd been and not declared that I had a criminal record, when I tried to get a visa, I couldn't get one. So that really kind of they closed the door on big fights in America for that for me.
Such a shame.
Yeah. But again, everything happens for a reason. I had another world title fight in Germany. I know I fought Golovkin in 2015, so obviously anyone who knows boxing will know Gennady Golovkin. Fought him in 2015 in Monte Carlo. At the time, he was in his pomp. He's still an unbelievable fighter. But nobody wanted to fight him, and I was just like, well, I'll fight him. It was always one of them. From the life he had, everything was a bonus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From the life I had and where it was going, anything was a bonus. So, at the end of my career, I wanted to be where, I went anywhere. I went anywhere, I fought anybody, and I had no regrets, and I'd not. Do you know what I mean? So now, obviously, I had my last fight I fought another world title at Abraham in Germany. We all know, we got beat on a split, we all know it's hard. Any boxing fan will tell you how hard it is to get a decision in Germany. And then my last fight was 2020, December last year, against Billy Joe Saunders. Obviously, I was, like I said earlier, I was 38. It's a young man's game, do you know what I mean? And I just didn't have the gears in. I called it a day after that last fight. But again, like I just said, I've got no regrets. I went everywhere, fought everybody. But from the life where I was, then obviously it's I was on a win no matter what. Even if I never fought and never won a title, never won a fight, even if I was just living a positive life,
yeah,
I'd won. You know what I mean? So everything's just a bonus for me. Obviously now I've got Jem. We've got 3 lovely kids who you've met.
Met them as well. Yeah,
life's good. So now I'm retired. I'm happily retired. Never go back in that ring. Don't miss it. It's an hard sport. Got pure respect for anybody who does boxing because it is an hard sport. But now it's about me giving back. So I kind of took a lot in a way as a young kid. So it's just about me giving back now, like I said.
I say exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
I took so much away from my community.
Yeah.
It's now time for me to give back.
Yeah.
And so I think everyone that's took the piss throughout life, they get to a point where it's like, nah, man, I need to give back.
Yeah.
So, who was the toughest fight that you had?
Oh, Golovkin.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
Because he was just a hard hitter, or you just kept taking
it. He was just good at everything. So he was just good at everything. There was no chinks in his armour. His punch power, his ring generalship, his pressure, his fitness. The thing that surprised me most about him though was his variety. His punch selection. Just a very, very clever fighter. Formidable, like he was tough. But a few hard fights, but Golovkin was the toughest. Definitely the toughest, yeah.
Did you ever tell him?
Don't know, it was mad. So we fought in Monte Carlo, so after we used to, because it was my 3rd fight in Monte Carlo. I ended up fighting there again, but it was a part of a 3-fight deal. So we've been there a couple of times. After every fight, I'd won the previous 2. So every time, the day after the fight, we'd all meet up at this Slammers Bar, it's called, in Monte Carlo. And we'd just, all of us, there was like hundreds, we'd just take over, just have a good laugh, like, you know what I mean? All good people were just having a laugh. So I went there. Obviously, I was in no mood the day after that. I'd been beat, so it was all at a after party. Everyone was out on it, just drunk, having a good time. Obviously, I wasn't up for it, so we went to the cinema anyway. And then we got invited for going to see Golovkin to his after party. Polar opposites, like, you know, I was just out drinking, having a good time, partying, singing in streets. They were just sat down, just having a nice meal, and, you know, proper, like, it was just a pure, I mean, it was a business to me, but it was a pure, proper business to them, and he was very, you know, just the way he went about his work in the ring. He had a little chat, didn't speak much English, but we've got that mutual respect for each other, like, you know, me old agent, he's a very good friend of mine, Andrew Mikhail, he still speaks with Tom Loeffler, who's his agent, so we send messages that way, like, you know. But yeah, I mean, I did tell him, I think he knows, but I mean, like I said, there was other fights as well. You know, I was lucky to fight as many fights as I did, and, you know, so it was like 14 years I was a pro.
Yeah, and you weren't fighting nobodies. These were
No.
the real deal.
Yeah, I mean, I look back now, I think my career, and again, everything happens for a reason. It is what it is. But I look back and I think where my career suffered was the promoting and the management at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, 2014 is when my mate Andy McCall come on board. I wish I'd have had him from start. And then a couple of days later, I was with MTK, and again, I wish I'd have had MTK from start. But there was, after every big fight with me, you know, I fought Sturm, and many people thought I won the fight. I drew in Germany. Now, I think we should have struck by the iron was up, you know what I mean? Should have got me straight into a big fight, capitalised on it, but I was like, you know, I wasn't promoted well. I was rebuilt from back doing 6 rounds.
You're focused on the fighting, you're not focused on the promotion now.
Yeah, that's all I was. So then obviously I was back doing 6 rounders from a 12-round fight going down to a 6, rebuilding again, 6, 8, 10 rounders, worked my way up to 12 rounders again, which I didn't need, worked my way up to, I was there. Got 12-round fight, won the WBA interim world title. Obviously that set me up for the Martinez fight. Fought Martinez again. Many people thought I won, number 2 pound for pound fighter in the world. Ended a fight. Fought 6 months later on a 10-rounder against somebody who had already beat. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it was dead stagnating my career. It was stop and start, and not through any fault of my own. But it was, I mean, like I said, it was very stop and start. But yeah, I had a good career. You know, I fought loads of different people, all different. Like I said, five world title fights. You know, and that was it with me when I retired. If I knew there'd have been a 6, I'd have still been going. If I knew there'd have been a 6, I'd have still been going, because it was like I'd won British, won Commonwealth, I'd won interim silvers, intercontinentals, all anything you can, barring the European, anything you can win apart from world title. So if I knew there'd have been a 6 there, I'd have still been going now. But it's 5's unheard of. I think it was only just me toughness and resilience, and which a lot of people from St Helens, this area, have got. I think if it wasn't for that, having that toughness and resilience, you know, I kind of I wouldn't say even got 5, but I did, and that sealed it for me. But if there'd have been 6, I'd have still been going now. So it's I achieved all I could, more than I ever dreamed of.
Stepping away from boxing professionally, how did that sit with you, with your mental health? Did you take it well, or was it just...
You mean now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm great. Yeah, the only time I'd suffered really, obviously we've all got little different, you know, there's obviously good mental health and there's bad mental health in there. We've all obviously got some sort of mental health issues, whether it's good or bad. I think I've always been, like I said, for me, from where I was, I've always been winning. I think the only time where I'd suffered really as a professional, don't get me wrong, I was upset throughout my career at some points. When we said about my career going backwards when it should have been going forwards, it was frustrating for me that because it was just like sometimes, you know, you only get out what you put in, and that wasn't the case with me. You know, I was grafting. I was just getting no rewards for it. So there was times when I was like obviously upset with it, but I think the time where I had real mental health issues where I suffered was after the Golovkin loss. So so I went over to South Africa, trained for 6 weeks. My family and everything for me, so for me away from them for 6 weeks was hard, but I thought, if I want something I've never had, I've got to do something I've never done.
Never done, yeah.
So it
like
was
that.
obviously, so it was going to South Africa for 6 weeks. Oliver didn't want to go, I didn't want to go, but we just thought, listen, we've got to do it, so we both did it. And Oliver passed away in 2019. Obviously, it was like a dad to me. Hit me hard. So I've kind of like been struggling a bit since then with that. But going back to the Golovkin fight, so I went six weeks Golovkin, and then when I got beat, I was in changing rooms, and it was the first time I'd cried after a fight. Gemma come in changing rooms, and it was the first time I'd cried, and it was because I'd felt like I'd been physically beat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So cried twice after 2 fights. I'll tell you the next one in a minute. But it was like I said, I'd draw in Germany. Martinez, people thought I won. I didn't think I got beat. That was where I felt I'd been beat. So then obviously I come back, and I was in a bit of a slump, like, you know what I mean? I felt everyone was saying, "Oh, wow, you did 11 rounds with Golovkin." No one had ever took him 11 rounds at that point. But that wasn't the reason that I went and fought him. I wanted to win. I didn't just want to be the long one who could go the furthest with him. So then obviously I come back, and then I kind of reverted in a way to doing kind of what I'd done a couple of years before. So I was obviously just drinking all the time. And I wasn't drinking for enjoyment. I was drinking for get hammered. You know, so I was just drinking. Obviously no drugs, you know, never took drugs. When I stopped taking drugs that time, when I turned, when I went back amateur, that was the last time I took drugs. So there was no drugs, but there was obviously a lot of drink, living for weekend, forget shit first. And then we've got a lot of mates in South Wales. Obviously where we met.
Yeah.
And my mate Johnny, who was with me, who lives down there.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, him.
Johnny.
We texted a couple of times since the next day and that. Like, he's a nice guy. He's funny as hell.
So we met in 2014 at one of my best mates' wedding, at Dean Illman's wedding, and he was getting married over there. So we've been close from that point, and all his mates from down there. Loads of us go down there. They come up here. Anyway, I went down on this after the Golovkin fight, and I was just at this point as well. I didn't have a promoter. You know, I just parted company with my promoter, parted company, not with my manager, but prior to that, we didn't really know where I was. I was in a bit no man's land, really. So I obviously ended up on a bender, and then we'd come home the day after, and we were meant to get off at the station. I carried on to just bladdered, carried on Manchester, went round Manchester, woke up. Didn't think, I'm ashamed to say, but I wasn't thinking at that time, but, I wasn't in a right mental state. I wasn't thinking about them, I wasn't thinking about the kids. Woke up in Manchester, got back on piss. Come home, I just come home, thought everything would be alright to come home to an empty house. This was 2015, yeah. Come home to an empty house. Didn't realise how much it upset Gemma, and she just I've got my mum's. So I remember that. Obviously, it was gutted, but the day after when I woke up, I was like, wow, what the fuck have I done?
Yeah.
So then obviously so that again she stayed away. And then I remember on that night, I thought I'd fucked everything. Yeah, I thought that's it. I've lost everything. And you're dead delicate, so you're not thinking straight. And, I will tell you, I did think of, it did actually go through my mind about committing suicide, because you just think, and this is why it's good to talk, because like you're always blame, you're dead hard. But I know me, myself personally, was dead hard on myself. So, you're not in the right frame of mind. And, I was just thinking, what have I done? I fucked everything up. They deserve better than me and all that. And it did go, you know what I mean? I'd never have done it. But it did. It did come into my mind the way I was thinking. What stopped you? Well, obviously, Gemma, kids. Listen, I wasn't at the point where I was going to do it, but I was at the point where I thought about it.
Okay.
And that's obviously where it starts, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then it was kind of obviously I do a bit of grovelling and obviously get off the ale. And then again, Andy McKyle, he's smiling because he come round our house and he fucking bollocked me. And I don't, you know what I mean? I don't usually let people speak to me the way he did, and they got no reason to. But he come and he fucking bollocked me. And I just started sitting there and thinking, who the fuck do you think you are, you? You know what I mean? And he proper put me in my place, like, and I was just like, wow.
Well, accepting that, obviously you knew that you needed it.
Yeah.
Someone had to come and tell you.
That's it. He intervened, and that was it. And he just come round, and then I was just like, I fucking need to get back boxing. This is why I'm big on sports in helping change people's lives and training in general. The mental and physical benefits, of training and doing some sort of exercise. For me, I know, but boxing saved my life, and obviously boxing and gym has saved my life. But so I just got back at gym, and I was just like, right, that's it. And I was just in a vicious negative. So again, what I was doing, the way I was living, and it didn't go on much. And it's weird because it was only when I was out of it, like talking to you now, but it was only when I was out of it do I look back and think, God, I was depressed. I didn't know I was depressed.
That's the crazy thing about depression. You don't know when you're in it until it's too late.
Yeah, exactly. So it was only when I was out, I was just like, wow, I was depressed and I didn't even know. So obviously got back boxing. Obviously that was kind of, it was a lesson to me that. It was a lesson about how easy it is for kind of slip into old traits if you don't keep your mind about you. But it was a lesson to me in moving forward in how I need to be after the fight. So when in my last fight, obviously, Gemma will tell you this if you ask her. So she always worried about me when I retired. She said throughout obviously over the years, like, I don't know what, I worry about you when you retire, because I always had so much focus on a fight, you know what I mean? And then because I'd fought and then I'd want to go and enjoy myself, I think she thought that I was kind of going to be like this when I retired. I had nothing focused on what I was going to do. I was just kind of going to go back to my old ways. So then when I retired in my last fight, again, that I learned off that mistake after the Golovkin fight. But my last fight was the second time I cried after a fight, the only 2 times. Because you knew that you was going to retire. I just knew it was done, and the journey. And it was obviously, it was crying because it was over, but I was crying because I was happy. You know what I mean? I was happy it was over. It was just like I'd done it. When you cry when you're happy, as opposed to when you're sad, it's such a rewarding feeling. You don't realise it until it's actually happening. I know, and I was just like, it was just a relief, but it was also that it was over, and it was kind of like it was just a journey that was over. So obviously retired, and it's been kind of since I've retired. I've literally been working on this academy. What I launched last week. Me and Gemma wrote this out when was it? When we lived in Wigan. So it was over 12, 13 years ago. Yeah, she told me when we was in the. I don't even know if you call it a pub or the clubhouse or brilliant. That place, She was telling me that this has been a long time passion for you. Yeah, so we wrote it out in 2000. When was it? 10, 11, or 9. God, we was in Wigan in 8. So 2008, 2009, we wrote this out, and we had to put it on shelf when my career took off, fighting around the world. So obviously, when I retired, I was just like, right, it's a passion of mine, this. It's a real passion. It's kind of like boxing. You know, I don't feel like I was born to do boxing. Do you know what I mean? Even though I was all
A
right
greater
at it.
purpose.
Yeah, I feel this is me. You know, this
You
what I'm
needed
doing.
to get the all of the other stuff out of your system.
Oh yeah.
For you to be able to know, because you're disciplined enough now, and I've seen you with your family. Yeah. I've seen you with your wife. The way you speak to her, it's lovely. It's absolutely amazing. And do you know what? My missus, she turned around and said, the way that she looks at you is unreal.
My missus said the same thing.
No way. Yeah, she said my missus was like blown away by the way that you two talk, and she looks at you is phenomenal. You know, and and that's long term love. You know, and you don't always see that. So when you do see it, it really does stand out. You know, so and your family is absolutely amazing, beautiful. Your family's beautiful. Like, you know. It was nice to be able to go to the event and come away having you as a friend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Likewise, yeah.
And it's not often you get to go to places where you can connect with someone the way that we connected.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Yeah. And the fact that, you know, if I stumble across anything, I feel down. I know that I could call you, and I know that you would be there for us.
Yeah, definitely.
And that would be the same likewise, you know.
Yeah.
And so the one good thing that come out of all this is true friendship.
Yeah. We loved it down there. Like,
yeah, it was that. I didn't want to leave.
No, it's quality.
I didn't want to leave. Yeah, it was insane. Yeah. But but the other good thing is as well is the mission that both of us are on is we're directing ourselves. I think we found ourselves at the right point in our lives.
Yeah, I think as well with what I'm doing with this, like you'd be perfect for, like we've spoke about, and you coming in speaking to kids and that, which I kind of want to. Like I said, we've been working on it all year. We launched it last week, and it's just for help as many young people as we can, instant sellings, and obviously moving forward, wherever. And this is obviously what the academy's doing. So it's like I said, I've been on it all year. We launched last week, and you know the launch couldn't have gone any better. You know, over like 12 years it making, but worth every second, like just for last week. So yeah, we got the other one Friday now, and we're going with it now. So obviously, but like I said, I feel like I was born to do this.
Yeah, and the good thing is with your academy is that you are targeting all round stuff. For me, I can only target one area because that's what my charity allows me to do. Yeah. Because you've got an academy, and it was such a wise thing to go as an academy rather than just a charity, because that allows you to broaden your aspect in all life. And the thing is, with my knife crime charity, I notice the things that you target and you're able to target. Yeah. I can't do that in my area. I have to leave it to get other people in to do it with us. So, you know, which leads kids off to do some pretty serious things. And it's amazing that you're able to target these on all different weeks that you're going to be doing it.
So, it's gone well. But like I said, having someone like you on board be perfect.
I'm there, man, every step of the way. I'll be here on Friday.
Yeah,
I'll be here.
You're coming on Friday.
I am coming on Friday. Yeah, of course I am. Of course I am. I'll come down.
But you say like we spoke about the other day. You say about obviously knife crime is what you mainly speak about, but you can relate to me so many other different ways.
This is true.
You know what I mean? Like we spoke about the other day. So
yeah, I mean, you have got on the Friday where I'll be turning up. That's about domestic violence and stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
And I might not have been physically hit through the domestic violence, as opposed to when my mum and dad were at it, but I lived it.
Yeah,
you know. So coming down, it opens up rawness, but I use that rawness to be able to help save others mentally and physically. You know, and and I think. If you was to look back, I mean, me doing a podcast and that lot, it's absolutely amazing just how blind that I've been throughout my life as to why people are suffering.
Yeah.
It seems to be a pattern that happens to each and every single person that has broken the law or ended up in jail.
Yeah.
You know, domestic violence, just not having a very good home to a safe place.
Yeah.
Sexual abuse.
Yeah.
you know, all of the above, really.
Yeah. See, I want to help him because, like I said, I was lucky enough to turn my life around. There's a lot of them who don't. You know, I'm not sure what the percentage is, but I know it's high of kids who have behaviour issues in school who then go on to commit crime and end up in prison.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So prevention is better than cure. And the whole idea about my academy's early intervention, giving them, and you know, and obviously, like I noticed with me is obviously my life changed when I met Gemma. Going back to that word I said, where she couldn't understand why I was doing what I was doing, thinking what I was thinking, and she was like, "You deserve better. You deserve better." And then I was like, "Wow, I do." You know what I mean? There's so much pressure in council estates, and you know you're made to feel low, not feel good about yourself, and feel down. And she made me believe that, you know what, I do deserve better, and I can be better. And I noticed that my life changed when my mindset changed.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to put out there. Like, how do you expect someone to understand who you are and why you do what you do if you don't understand that yourself?
Yeah.
But really, what you need is someone that's there strong enough to believe in you, for you to be able to understand that you need change.
Yeah.
And thankfully, Jen was there to make you understand.
Yeah.
And because of that, you're helping, which will be thousands of kids.
Yeah.
You're helping your own community.
Yeah.
And I believe that what you're doing, you are going to see a change here in this community.
Yeah,
10 years from now, you're going to have the Rocky statue outside. But like, seriously, I think, like, you know, nothing's going to happen overnight, but it is seen what you're doing, and it is felt what you're doing. And it might take a little while, you know this yourself, for people to understand that you ain't going anywhere. And that you are staying here, because a lot of people that are troubled, especially youths, and they've got no one, is everyone leaves them.
Yeah. Well, that's it. You know, we can't do that. They've been let down before. We can't let them down. But you know what? The backing that I'm getting already. So obviously, St Helens Council are on board with everything. You know, they provided me with everything they could do, really. We've got some funding from Merseyside Police, you know, the Violence Reduction Partnership. Was it's all tags on antisocial behaviour, you know, man, can, like I said, preventing crime, prevention better than cure. So we've got the backing of that, and we've got, like I said, we've got as much backing as we need from them type of things. So the important thing for me is keeping it sustainable. You know, I don't want it to be a flash in the pan thing.
Yeah.
This model works. We just need to keep it going long enough to prove that it does and get success stories, people coming through. You know, I want these kids who's coming through the academy. I want them then to go on and do something at college, do a youth work course, do a teaching course, teaching assistant.
Yeah, get businesses involved.
Do a sporting course where you can come and teach the boxing. I want to bring them back through the academy. So it's not going to be one of them things where it's just going to be going for a year or two. I want it to be a proper thing, and we're hoping. We're hoping in time it can become an integral part of the inclusion offering St Helens, so.
I believe you are going to make a difference. You already are making a difference. You made a difference with me, and you know what I mean? We've only known each other a short time, you know. Being able to just be able to look up to the peers around me, doing good. My method and the way I think has changed. I got rid of a lot of negative people, and I've replaced them with good people like yourself. And
you're
and it has changed.
Don't you? So true, that.
Yeah. And I think there's nothing better in this town than you being able to push for it, because as you've heard here today, you've lived it, you've felt it, you've been in jail several times. You're lucky enough to come out of it at the end with a successful career, a really lovely family, and the ability to be able to make a change. That's you. The driver's there, and that wouldn't have been able to happen if you didn't have the past that you've had.
Everything happens for a reason.
This is true.
Yeah,
this is true. The universe is good, mate, and I think you've been put here for this sole purpose.
Cheers, mate.
And I believe you're going to make a difference, and I'll be with you. Whenever you need me, I will come. Do the journey.
I can't believe you're driving up 4 hours on Friday.
Mate, it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth
I know,
it.
and that's it, rewarding, isn't it?
You know, it's worth coming. Listen, it's, 4 hours there, 4 hours back is nothing to come down and show you support from the change there. Because if I'm willing to do that and you're willing to do this, that shows the kids that you've got people around that do want to help them. So, if I can come and just show them that if I'm willing to come all this way up just to sit there and listen, then they come around the corner, they can sit there and listen.
There you go, mate.
Exactly. So it's all a partnership. It's all connections, and it's all belief, mate. And I think all of us together, we can make a difference.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, mate. You know that.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, thanks.
It's been a pleasure, mate. Thank you. Proper opened up a bit then. It kind of spoke about things I'd not really.
Mate, and then, do you know what it is? The things what I like about doing the podcast and about connecting with people is I've been fortunate enough to be able to connect with the people of podcast. Yeah. So with that, they open up, and that message that gives out to people that are hard shelled. That, I mean, man, you're a pro boxer. Fought some of the, people are looking at you like, fucking hell. If he can speak out, and they see me sitting here or whatever, they might think, oh, look at that idiot. Do you know what I mean? Or they'd be sitting there going, wow, look over my story when I was speaking out. And they're looking at us. Now we're role models for a different reason. We're not role models because of what we was doing on the street. We've now turned that around. We're now role models for a different reason. And that's to be able to show men, boys, women, whatever, that it's okay to speak. You're not getting judged for it. It's okay. So, my message out there is don't close yourself off to the world. Put yourself out there because people will listen to you.
And my message is that you should never let your past determine your future. You can always go if you want to go on and do good things, positive things. You can.
100%.
Determine your future.
100%. 100%. And that's the message. That's the message I put out there, man. That's why I like doing what I do. And I think that's how come we connected too. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Nah.
Appreciate it. Top one. Thanks, mate.
All love.